They have, they do. I don't think they're in charge. The presidents of the United States aren't in charge. However, if that's true for Obama, that was true for George Bush, too. But I know that Obama knew that. How could you not know it? How can you be so stupid to seek an office that you didn't know the pressures that you would be under for true change? So what does that tell us? What does that tell us if the President of the United States has no legitimate power because he's afraid? He's afraid for his life. He's afraid for his children's lives. He's afraid for his family's lives. Well, one thing about George Bush, of course, is that his family is part of this worldwide cabal, of criminals. So, and Obama, I'm not an Obama supporter. I never was. I didn't vote for him. I voted for Cynthia McKinney, but someone like Cynthia, she'll never achieve that office because she hasn't sold out and she can't be bought. So there's a synergy going on. So that tells us that our government and all of the whole robber class, ruling class, whatever you want to call them, I heard our 9/11 brother call them bastards. That works for me. That they all collaborate and work together to oppress us, to take away our rights, to steal our money, to steal our children, to literally kill us. And all I know, since Obama's been president, the United Police States of America have gotten even worse than when George Bush was president. Being down in Venezuela, I know the policies of the U.S. government towards South America, especially that Caribbean region, have gotten worse. Sending all those troops to Haiti sure wasn't for humanitarian aid because they blocked humanitarian aid from getting there. It's to position ourselves in that region because it's becoming more and more apparent that Venezuela has more oil than we ever thought they had. So I know that Afghanistan has gotten worse, and I have to disagree with my brother who spoke. I don't believe that we ever should have invaded Afghanistan. Now, because I don't believe that whatever happened on 9/11 was an act of war. And so you don't go in and invade other countries. And since we invaded Afghanistan, they estimate that at least 60,000 innocent people have been killed. So that's 20 9/11s. And if they say 60,000, God knows how many people actually have been murdered. So I believe that we could have had, if 9/11, if they wanted to do it in a way that wouldn't cause the deaths of more innocent civilians, it would have been prosecuted as a crime instead of as an act of war. So since Obama's been president, he's tripled the troop strength of George Bush. And we know 2009 was the worst year for our troops and the people of Afghanistan. And not only that, but they're using the CIA to use drones to bomb Pakistan. And 100 civilians are killed to every suspected terrorist. And you get that suspected terrorist? So the CIA has become the judge, jury, and executioner, and they don't even try to hide anymore. They're just right out in the open about everything. Obama has given himself the power to execute U.S. citizens outside the country if they're suspected terrorists. And you know what disturbs me about that more than just being, I thought, wow, I'm going to have a Hellfire missile drop on my head when I'm in Venezuela or Uruguay. But what bothers me more than the policy is that I saw a report, it was a reporter asking people, what do you think about this? What do you think about this policy that the president can be judge, jury, and executioner of people, U.S. citizens outside of the United States? You know what 4 out of 5 of the people said? Well, if the government says they need to be killed, I guess they need to be killed. What? What? That goes against everything, every human and civil right that we were supposedly brought up on. So if the president can't be the agent of change, then why the hell do we still think, why do we vote for president in the first place? You know, it's like the Ayatollahs in Iran. The robber class, Wall Street, the bankers, the military-industrial complex, they're like the Ayatollahs that pick our candidates for us. You know, we get Goldman Sachs candidate A or Goldman Sachs candidate B. And in 2008, I want you to guess which candidate got more money from Goldman Sachs. Barack Obama. So we go and we don't vote for our choices. You know, if we voted for the choice of the people, I believe it would have been Dennis Kucinich running against Ron Paul. So we go in the booth and we voted actually the person who had we vote in the person who had the stronger Madison Avenue ad campaign won. Obama was sold to us like the new and improved lemony-smelling douche. I'm right. You know, he's the old empire. He's the emperor of the empire, but he smells better. He's minty fresh or whatever, and that's what we get. That's what we get. So if change isn't going to come from the top, where does it have to come from? It has to come from the bottom. And you know what that's called? That's called a revolution. And we can't constantly give our legitimacy to this system. I heard some of the ABC News person that was here talk about douches. And coming and saying, how can you question this government? You know, it's like a religion. You know, it's like a religion that we have to worship the government. And the problem I have with that is that if you realize that it's a systemic problem, then you're basically on your own. You know, people who were against Bush, and, you know, Bush is a liar, Bush is a murderer, Bush is a terrorist, whatever. We marched in the hundreds of thousands. We were active. People who were against Bush, when Obama becomes president, the things still happen, but they're not that bad anymore. You know, that they try to make excuses for Obama. You know, well, we have to stay in Afghanistan to protect the women. You know, the U.S. military executed children in Afghanistan. They went into their house. They pulled them out. They handcuffed them, and then they executed them. Please, don't protect me. And so we have to realize that many people here probably aren't like me. They're probably not on the left. But I'm really on the left.